it, Sarah. All day. Hell yeah.
Arm wrestling's about to take place.
Yeah.
New YouTube world, how you doing? Paul Italia here. Got a really good interview set up today, but before I tell you who that special guest is, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. And with that being said, I'd love to introduce today's superstar athlete. We've got none other than Don Hollywood Underwood. What's up, brother? How are you today, bro?
Shit, living the dream, man. Living the dream.
I gotta say, bro, I'm real excited about this one, man. You definitely are quite the character, bro. I got to know you over my short existence in the arm wrestling world, and fucking love it, bro. Love everything about you and everything, and kind of want to catch up and just kind of find out a little about your background and kind of where you grew up and all that.
I gotcha. Well, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, born in Independence, little suburb. Just small enough town you can get around and know a lot more people than you really need to. It's kind of small town, drama bullshit when you're out and about in the game. But I kind of keep to myself now, man. I just work, take care of my family. I like motorcycle riding and classic car stuff. So, yeah, man, focus on my kids and, just trying to make as much money as I can in my old age. So
when you were growing up, high school and all, were you an athlete?
Yeah, football, basketball, baseball, just the general stuff. I mean, I was kind of a kid that was in a town where just small enough where I came in late to where all the athletes and people's names were already established. So, they always were first. So I had to try real hard to fit in and get involved in that stuff. But when I did, I excelled and gave me just enough light to realize that I had some potential to be something serious.
And when did you get into arm wrestling, and how did you get into arm wrestling?
Well, arm wrestling stories, everybody arm wrestled on the lunchroom table. I was kind of the guy to beat in high school. Always beat the bigger guys. Sometimes they'd beat me. I'd come back and we'd have wars. And then found an article in the newspaper for the state fair, Missouri State Fair. And I was working at Long John Silver's at the time, just out of high school, 18, 19 years old. And I was arm wrestling my buddy Dwayne across the table. Was a great big old boy, and I ended up tearing a tendon in my elbow, which negated any side pressure. So I went down to the fair, basically got my ass handed to me. And there was a guy out of Nebraska, was in the Air Force. I forget his name, Steve something, 180 pounder, and just walked the floor with me and laughed, kind of giggled when I kind of put some pressure on him, as anybody would with a big guy going against a small guy with no power. You're like, what the fuck's going on with this clown, But kind of pushed me into a place of motivation. I didn't like getting beat, one. Two, I didn't like being made fun of or giggled at. And it just drove me to continue to follow the Flyers and the tournaments that were in the Midwest, and ran into him again about a year later and just, pushed him onto the side as another victim.
Let me ask you, Don, when you first competed in that tournament when you were 18 at that state fair, what was the weight class you were in then?
I would have came in somewhere around 220 at that time. I graduated high school at 237, 6 foot, 237. Lost some weight down to about 217, even made a 199 class at Gloucester in Canada one year. Never really suited me to be that small. It was more of a look. Me and Michael Todd, a.k.a. the Band Brothers, were traveling the road. And, he's always been a guy that stayed focused on fitness. So it helped me keep the weight down and, chase and tail more than anything outside of tournaments. But I found my weight was really good, 242, 260, somewhere in that range. And then decided I love weights and put on some mass. So it's kind of going to be there. I'm 300 pounds on the numbers right now. Abbed out, look pretty good. I'd like to lose another 20, but I've got such big abs. I always look like a fat kid. So,
bro, I got to say, man, I've seen some of your pictures, bro, to have abs at 300 pounds. I mean, dude, you don't just have abs. You got blocks over there, man. It's pretty impressive, bro.
Yeah, it's fun. It's one of those things. I'll be 50 this year, May 20th, turn 50. So you guys, if you need my address for checks, go ahead. I'll put that out at the end of that and put it in the description below. But yeah, no, it's good. My kids are real proud of their dad. I'm real proud of the achievements I've done. And, I stay in the gym and consistently try to look good. You have the choice in this world. I mean, to look a certain way and feel a certain way. And I'm on the basis of handicap. I've got bad back and hips are jacked. And, from the accident on Game of Arms where I broke my hip and didn't go to the hospital, I'm really experiencing all the effects of that now. So I'm losing because I don't have the body to drag through the arm. And so I'm trying to really get around that. So a lot of the losses that I'm taking are due to the fact that the pain level is so high. I just can't get that lane moving. It's like at the Arnold's, if you noticed, complete control of everybody's arm. When you don't have the movement in your body, you've got to figure out a new way to arm wrestle. So I'm kind of like an amateur again. I just got to learn what works for me now with the strength that I have. So
it's a lot of like an adaptation process for you right now,
A lot of hurdles. I mean, my arm and hand and wrist is in a dramatically good place. So even in loss, like I said, and I think you're going to find more elbow losses than anything with me right now. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of people out there that can pin me. When I'm set up, set down there, I'm as good as anybody in the U.S. right now, I think, strength-wise. But again, with arm wrestling, it's more than just your arm, hand, and wrist. It's a full body experience. And I've got about 40 or 50% of that problem that I've got to learn to get around and use properly again.
Let me ask you, Don, back to original question. And when you started pulling at 18 at that tournament and all, was that your first official time on an actual arm wrestling table? Because I know you said you were arm wrestling as a child in school, so we usually did it on a table and all.
Yep. Other than our lunch table or restaurant table or wherever you can put your elbow down, car hood, when we did it all. Officially put my elbow down in the summer of 1990.
So let me ask you, after that, you said it sparked the flame under you and kind of got you hooked in a way. Was there anybody that kind of mentored you or somebody that inspired you?
Yeah, we had a little group, around Missouri in this little circuit that we had. And Wayne Burns, if you know Wayne, Dylan Burns is his kid. Wayne was the absolute man back then from 85 to 95. I mean, at 143, 154 was the absolute man. You had, let's see, Chad Silvers would have been a tough class for him. Brian Shea, you probably don't know that name. Craig Toulier was creeping into that conversation. But Wayne from 85 to 90, 95 in there, he was just a man. And I linked up with him, a guy named Chris Anderson, a couple national champions, a guy named Rick, not Zumwalt. That was, anyways, another guy, national champion, Rick Tippett. And some of the people understand those names from, back in the early 90s. Those were big time national champions and world champions. So Wayne taught me the strap, how to do things, and it was just a good, solid technical group. And I just happened to be, good at this and accelerated pretty fast.
So that started the practices every week. You started weekly training. Did you start specifically training for arm wrestling?
No, man, I've never been a specific arm wrestling training. We've had, group practices, and that's where I've accelerated. Never practiced more than once a week until the last year. You know as well as I do, Paul, in the USA, man, this is a hobby. If the government paid us, there's nobody that could even deal with what we have over here. The talent that we have is literally a couple hours a week investment. And then we just, we go out and have fun with it. So just like everything else in the world, USA is dominant. It's just a matter of opportunity and training. So,
Don, are you a big gym guy? I know obviously you got abs and all that, so you're putting in the work, but is that really part of your arm wrestling training?
It is. I think specifically the gym is something that's just overall strength. I've incorporated a Sunday, Wednesday practice now. So I'm really anxious to get through these setup tournaments that I have, or super matches or challenge matches I have with Wayne, BJ. Supposed to have something with Tim in May, potentially. Got nationals. I really want to put the tournaments and matches away because the COVID really slowed down the potential of where I should be. And I'm in a great place, but I think there's a lot more ground that I can gain. So I want to train for, probably a good 6 months and get that strength like I had back when I was, top 3 or 4 in the world. And, see if I can figure out a lane that works. A lot of my practices is allowing people to take me from noon to 3, 4 o'clock, and then, coming back with side pressure in different lanes. And I'm finding myself in those negative positions in tournaments. So my training is going to change from that to basically noon to pin in different lanes to strengthen those things. I think that's important. Obviously, if you're doing the same thing you're doing in practice in a tournament, then start winning at practice, start winning at tournaments. Replacement on my left one. I've got very little movement. Like I said, for me to even compete at the level that I am is crazy, because it's hard for me to even walk, turn, do the things that I need to do. So I'm struggling. I mean, if you'll notice, if you watch any of the stuff that I do, you'll like losing late in a tournament. That's because I've got something out of place that the pain overpowers the will to win.
Yeah, I remember when we had the Fatal 4 we did in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I know you were having some pains with the hips and all.
This usually affects some of the sound. So let me know if you hear me okay.
Yeah, you're all good. I can hear you.
All right, great.
So I was saying, yeah, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we had that Fatal 4-way we threw and all. And I remember, bro, you were by the end of it, you were in pain, dude. You were, everything was tightening up on you, and you were definitely struggling. I definitely felt for you for that day, bro.
Yeah, that was rough. I was a little heavier that day. I'm 40 pounds lighter than I was then. That's one of the things. I remember a comment from you, hey, you could help me get back. And I was already getting ready to go back. I was bulking for a while, and then I had a lot of negative stuff going on. You kind of stuck in your ways. But yeah, I've always been able to cut back down and feel better. And I do feel a lot better now. But yeah, man, packing 340 pounds around is rough to start with. But it's, there's not a whole lot you can really do about it. You just have to either quit or don't grind and get up there and do your best. And hope some days are better than others.
Well, I want to kind of change our direction we're going in right now. I kind of want to just get back from your past. I want to hear, what was the biggest match you've ever had in your career? What was the one that really stands out to you?
Probably 2010 Arnold Classic. Beating everybody in that class, which included Devin Larrett and Ryan Espy. That was the biggest. And then, I mean, there's several other accolades. Arm Wars, December 2010 again, just smashing the top 8 in the world and being told that, yeah, I mean, you're the best in the world today. No doubt, Travis Devin. I mean, there's a multitude of talent that will say that guy was just a special human being that day. And, you never know why, but yeah, I mean, anytime that you beat a super high caliber puller and get the acknowledgments of your accolades, it's good. So probably the Arnold's or that Arm Wars event, almost the Arm Wars event, because both of those other two were in it along with 6 other world-class, world-talented arm wrestlers that I ended up prevailing or tying. You guys have seen the video. You guys make your own determination, but I know what I believe, and it is what it is. But that was probably the tournament or day that I'll remember more than anything in my career.
Can you say around those years, would you consider that where you kind of peaked over there? That was your top years?
It seems to be, as far as who I was beating and where I was going and winning everywhere. It didn't matter if Dave Chafee, Mars, it didn't matter who was there. I was winning national events back to back to back to back to back, and I was running through them with ease. And that's an addict, alcoholic version of myself that really, I don't think is the best version of me. I think we're still going to see the best version of me. But that was a pretty damn good version and a hell of a run, man. So I beat just about everybody and anybody that was, like I said, it didn't matter who they were.
Can I ask you, what did your training look like then?
A lot of arm wrestling. My table time training, I lifted a lot in the gym, similar to what I do now. But I had a group of about 25 arm wrestlers. That's when Top Roll was at its peak. So a lot of local tournaments, and I had 25 arm wrestlers at my house. And I mean, we would just sit and drink and pull for 4 or 5 hours. And yeah, man, I noticed a big change once I locked up with Ron and seeing that I had some power to beat him after a tournament. That kind of sparked me. And then I pulled him in a super match and had some victories against him. And that was kind of the guy to beat before John, and everybody else was kind of second to him. And that put me in the elite category. And then beating Devin and everybody else just kind of shotgunned me. I don't think I ever went. I think fourth was the highest they wouldn't give me number one. I beat him 2 tournaments in a row and they wouldn't give me number one. That always frustrated me. I think it's an opinion poll, in my opinion. When you beat the number one arm wrestler in a consistent way, you become that guy. Was I the best arm wrestler in the world? Hell no, but I had his number and that was all that mattered to me.